with God, living the right kind of life, then we expect you to be a person of faith, studying the word, developing yourself on a daily basis. And we also expect you to be sendable, to be deployable. That is what we term service. So I'm a worker, whether you are an usher, a protocol member, a security member, you are in the maintenance department, you are in the choir, you are being deployable, you are being sendable. But all this doesn't necessarily mean that you will become the inheriting son. There are good traits. That you are righteous is good, that you have faith is good, that you are deployable is good, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you will become the inheriting son. In the scriptures, I'm going to be citing two different examples. And the first example is the example of Caleb and Joshua. Caleb and Joshua were actually sons of God. They are people that are not only genuine Christians, the way we call it in our generation, but they are also men of faith. They are also men that are sendable, they are deployable. And when they were supposed to go to the land of Canaan, I mean the old Israel nation, Joshua and Caleb were the only two out of the 12 spies that came back with a good report. And they are coming back with a good report regardless of the giants they saw, because I don't want to believe they too did not see what the remaining 10 spies saw. But they've groomed their faith to the extent that what they saw did not change their belief in God. They were certain that the God they serve is able to conquer everyone they saw. In fact, in their words, they were saying, these giants are bread to us. Numbers chapter 14, verse 6 to 9. Numbers 14, 6 to 9. But Joshua the son of Nun and Caleb the son of Jephunneh, who were among those who had spied out the land, tore their clothes, and they said to all the congregation of the children of Israel, saying, the land we passed through to spy out is an exceedingly good land. If the Lord delights in us, then he will bring us into this land and give it to us, a land which flows with milk and honey. Only do not rebel against the Lord, nor fear the people of the land, for they are our bread. Their protection has departed from them, and the Lord is with us. Do not fear them. They said two important things here that shows that they are really sons of God, their commitment to God. They were telling the others, do not rebel against the Lord. That means they are people that obey God. They are genuine Christians. And they are telling the other people, don't rebel against God. Don't let your fear be what will make you disobey. And to show that they are people of faith, they are not saying these people, their protection has departed from them. They are just bread to us. And although the two of them were sons of God, the two of them were righteous, the two of them were men of faith, the two of them were sendable, they were deployable, I discovered that eventually only one of the two became an inheriting son. Interestingly, Numbers 14:24 says, but my servant Caleb, because he had another spirit in him and had followed me fully, him will I bring into the land whereinto he went, and his seed shall possess it. Then I also want to read Numbers 14:30. Numbers 14:30 says, except for Caleb, the son of Jephunneh, and Joshua, the son of Nun, You shall by no means enter the land which I swore I will make you dwell in. He was talking generally to the multitude of Israel, and he was saying because of their unbelief they would not enter. Then he made an exception for Caleb and Joshua. But one thing I want you to understand is that the scriptures doesn't just arrange. The scriptures arrange according to the ranking, according to superiority. So if I'm going to judge using Numbers 14:24, then, in fact, in Numbers 14:24, Joshua's name didn't even come up. It was only Caleb's name. Then in Numbers 14:30, the two names came up, but Caleb's name came up before Joshua's name. So I would want to put it across to you that Caleb got a higher recognition for having the right spirit in comparison to Joshua. Caleb got a higher recommendation. They specifically mentioned it in Numbers 14:24 that he had another spirit in him. So he was actually following the scriptures. Then it was in scrolls. He was actually following the dictates of God. Interestingly, it was Joshua that became the inheriting son, not Caleb. The Bible said in Numbers 28, Numbers 27:18-20, Numbers 27:18-20, the Bible said, then the Lord said to Moses, take thee Joshua, the son of Nun, a man in whom is the spirit, a man in whom is the spirit, and lay thine hands on him, I'm reading KJV version, and set him before Eleazar the priest, and before all the congregation, and give him charge in their sight, and thou shalt put some of thine honor upon him, that all the congregation of Israel may be obedient. And I was wondering, how did Joshua gap Caleb? If the two of them are the children of the sons of God, they were righteous men, they are men of faith, and they were sendable. Where did the gapping happen? And I discovered that the gapping occurred because Caleb would do just what is required of him. Caleb would do just enough. Joshua would go the extra mile. That was what the difference was. You cannot fault the assignment of Caleb. He would do it excellently. He would do it well, but he would not do it beyond what you instructed him to do. Oh, they said, I'm an usher. I'm supposed to come at 6:30. I'm here at 6:30. I'm at the entrance. Even if there is a wrapper of biscuit on the floor, I don't belong to maintenance department. I'm an usher. I'm supposed to be at the entrance and welcome the person coming in. The biscuit wrapper on the floor belongs to a worker in maintenance department. That's the kind of person Caleb was. But Joshua is the kind of person that, although I belong to ushering department, every other thing, whatsoever my hand finds to do, I do it with all my might. That was how he gapped Caleb. How did I know that? The Bible said in Exodus chapter 24, Exodus 24, 12-13, the Bible said, and the Lord said to Moses, come up to me in the mount and be there, and I will give thee tablets of stone and a law and commandments which I have written, that thou may teach them. And Moses rose up, I'm reading KJV, and Moses rose up, and his minister Joshua, and Moses went up into the mount. So God called Moses to come onto the mount. He's going to be there, not eating, not drinking. And by the time he stood up to leave, Joshua decided to follow. That this person is going to have a unique encounter. Let me follow him. There are things this person knows that made him our leader. Let me follow him. He wasn't the only one in the congregation of Israel, but he was the only one that chose to follow. It wasn't everybody's instruction. It was only Moses' instruction, but Joshua decided to follow. That wasn't the only instance. Another instance was seen in Exodus chapter 33, verse 7 to 11. Exodus 33, 7 to 11. I'm reading New King James Version now. Moses took his tent and pitched it outside the camp. So Moses chose to remove himself from where everybody was living. He doesn't want to get familiar so that they'll be able to receive from him. So the Bible said he took his tent and pitched it outside the camp, far from the camp, and called it the tabernacle of meeting. And it came to pass, everyone who sought the Lord went out to the tabernacle of meeting, which was outside the camp. So it was, whenever Moses went out to the tabernacle, that all people rose, and each man stood at his tent door and watched Moses until he has gone into the tabernacle. And it came to pass, when Moses entered the tabernacle, the pillar of cloud descended and stood at the door of tabernacle, and the Lord talked with Moses. All the people saw the pillar of cloud standing at the tabernacle door, and all the people rose and worshipped, each man at his tent door. So the Lord spoke to Moses face to face, as a man speaks to his friend, and he would return to camp, but his servant Joshua, son of Nun, a young man, did not depart from the tabernacle. So this story is about value gap for virtue flow. He brought his tent outside the camp. The Bible said far from the camp. And there he will always meet with God. And the Bible recorded that when he's going to meet with God, every other person will stand in front of their own house, including Caleb, in front of their own house. Nobody wants to go far, because where God is was far. The Bible said the tent that Moses set was far away from the camp, so nobody wanted to stress themselves. Everybody will just stand up and stay in front of their house, so that when they finish worshiping, everybody will just open their door and enter. But the Bible said Joshua did not do that. Joshua went the extra mile. It was far, but he chose to pay that price. He wasn't the one God was talking to, but he was close enough. I'm sure that he must have been privy to certain things the others were not, because the others will be looking from a distance, that see the cloud of glory, but he being there will be covered in that cloud too. He would have certain experiences that the others did not have, because all the others were looking from afar. He was there. He was there. And interestingly, the Bible said he was a young man. It wasn't that they call it youthful exuberance. It wasn't that there wasn't other things he could do, but he chose to know more, that there is something this man sees, or there is something this man hears, that makes him different from all of us. I might not be the one God called, but I can follow closely enough to get a bit more. And that was what he did that Caleb did not do. So, despite the fact that the spirit, the Bible said Caleb had another spirit in him, despite the fact that he had, maybe, if we put it on, if we choose to rank it, that Caleb might carry more of the spirit of faith in him, Joshua was more yielding. Joshua was more willing. And that was what brought about the distinction. That was what brought about the distinction. And how did we know that Joshua was the inheriting son eventually? Not only did he become the leader, and for him to have become the leader of Israel, that means he also became the leader of Caleb. And not only did he become the leader, he eventually became the one dividing inheritances, even unto Caleb. Because the Bible said in Joshua chapter 14, verse 6, then verse 12 to 13. Joshua 14, verse 6, then verse 12 to 13. And the children of Judah came to Joshua in Gilgal, and Caleb the son of Jephunneh, the Kenizzite, said to him, you know the word which the Lord said to Moses, the man of God, concerning you and me. It was before it was you and me. Now Joshua has become the boss. Concerning you and me in Kadesh Barnea. Now therefore give me this mountain which the Lord spoke in that day. For you heard in that day how the Anakim were there, and the cities were great and fortified. It may be that the Lord will be with me, and I shall be able to drive them out as the Lord has said. And the Bible said, and Joshua blessed him and gave Hebron to Caleb. So they used to be colleagues. Now levels have changed. He needed to take permission to collect his inheritance from his mates. And not only did he take permission, he also took blessings. What brought about the gap? Somebody was willing to go the extra mile. When you need to go and call somebody from their own department to come and do what you can do in God's house, you are not willing to go far. I understand it if you are busy doing something else and something has to be done. But the carpet is rumpled and it needs to be straightened. Then you go, who is a maintenance member? They need to come and straighten your own, and you're going all the way to even go and look for a maintenance member to come and straighten it. You would have done it. Oh, the guests we are waiting for is around. Where is the person that will carry the bag? Where is the person that will welcome the person? You might not be the person to collect the bag, but you can welcome the person very politely. In fact, it will make a bigger impression than the protocol members, because the protocol members will be assumed to have been trained to do that. But when they see that the person they first met, maybe at the car park or in the compound, even before they got to the entrance, greeted them well, treated them well. This is a church of trained people, not just a particular department. And it will make a bigger impression than just meeting somebody that has been rude to them at the car park, somebody that has been rude or ignored them or spoke to them in a condescending manner in the compound. Then they now got to the entrance, then people were now clapping, welcome to, this is hypocritical. Is it not part of your people that just, you can't park there, you can't park, move. Then they will be just opposing that. What you are doing here is a show. The real kind of persons here just revealed, one of them just revealed himself or herself to me. Another person that had this experience as an inheriting son was Elisha. Elisha wasn't the only one that was following Elijah. But Elisha was the one that chose to go the extra mile. Second Kings chapter 3 verse 11. By the time Jehoshaphat was asking questions, the Bible said, but Jehoshaphat said, is there no prophet of the Lord here that we may inquire of the Lord by him? So one of the servants of the king of Israel answered and said, Elisha, the son of Shaphat, is here, who poured water on the hands of Elijah. The interesting thing is that just like Joshua would have had certain unique experiences because he followed to the tent of tabernacle, Elisha too would have had unique experiences. You can't bring water for somebody to wash his or her hand and not know what the person's hand did. Whether the person ate with the hand, you will see oil or the remnant of the swallow or whatever. If the person has been working on an art project, pottery or whatever, you will see the remnants of the clay. So you can say what the person has been doing because you are the one that brought water for the person to wash his or her hand. So the remaining sons of the prophet are not privy to the spiritual dimensions, the spiritual combinations that Elijah was practicing to make things happen, because they were at a distance. But the person that carries water there will know whether he did water of sprinkling, whatever he did, he would have seen it, because he chose to stay close. And interestingly, the Bible did not say so much of that regarding Moses. The Bible said Moses was meek to stay with Elijah. To stay with Elijah. If there's something to say again after having a thick skin, Elijah that will call down fire on people that have no choice. You dare not tell the king that sent you on an errand that you cannot go. And Elijah knows that. Despite that knowing, he will still call fire on them to destroy them. Men that have wife and children at home. He didn't even factor the fact that he's turning a woman to a widow and some children fatherless. His anger is that violent. So to stay that close to somebody that is of that kind of temperament, I'm sure that he must have been scalded emotionally severally. Maybe he was supposed to bring water, he didn't arrive on time, or maybe the water was too full, or the water was too little, or he was expecting warm water and Elisha brought cold water. The things he would have heard, the chastisements, the insults, sometimes the nonchalance, when you think you have served and you expected him to say thank you. Can you imagine you wanting to even serve somebody when they started? You didn't tell me before. You just met me and you threw your robe on me. And I'm telling you, okay, even if I'm going to follow you, so that they will not declare me wanted at the police station, let me go and tell them at home that, okay, nothing is wrong with me. I didn't get missing. I'm following you. You still chased me. Who does that? What kind of person are you? But that was the person he chose to stay close to. That was the person he chose to stay close to. That I know you are fire. I don't mind being burnt. I will shall take. What the request he made at the end showed why he stayed. That you might not be a perfect person. You might be temperamental. You might be whatever. But I know that the hand of God is upon your life. And that hand of God upon your life, I will partake of it. You can't chase me. And they were moving from city to city. It's a long scripture. They were moving from city to city. And he was the only one following non-stop. I discovered that the sons of the prophet, they were sons of the prophet from one city. Then when he gets to another city, it will be the sons of the prophet from another city. So all of them knew what was going to happen. It wasn't a secret. All of them knowing what was going to happen meant that all of them had the opportunity to make their decisions of whether to follow or not. If they didn't know, now we'll say it was only Elisha that was privy to the information that Elijah was going to be taking. That was why he was the only one that followed him. But for all of them to be saying it at different cities, all the sons of the Lord, do you know the Lord? So all of them knew, but they just chose not to go the extra mile. They chose not to be a part of it. So it was only Elisha that decided that this man, I've served, I've been insulted, I've been scalded with the fire of his anger. Now is the time for rewards, whatever it will take. And just like the other people in the city, in the nation of Israel will stay in the front of their own tents to worship, and Joshua will follow. In this case too, they will say the sons of the prophets will stand afar off, and they will be saying, do you know that they are going to take? So you know, you think he does not know. You are giving information that you have and you are doing nothing about. And eventually, in 2 Kings chapter 2 verse 12 to 15, the Bible said, and Elisha saw it, and he cried out, my father, the chariot of Israel and his horsemen. And he saw him no more. And he took hold of his own clothes and tore them into pieces, and also took up the mantle of Elijah that had fallen from him, and went back and stood by the bank of Jordan, and took the mantle of Elijah that had fallen from him, and struck the water, and said, where is the Lord God of Elijah? And when he struck the water, it was divided this way and that, and Elisha crossed over. Now when the sons of the prophet that were from Jericho, you see that they were at different cities, from Jericho saw him, they said, the spirit of Elijah rests on Elisha. And they came to meet him, and they bowed to the ground before him. So the people that were his colleagues, sons of the prophets like him, started prostrating for him, because he chose to go the extra mile. All of us are Christians, I want to assume. Since it's a workers, all of us are Christians, all of us are serving, but not all of us will be inheriting sons. It's possible for everyone to be inheriting sons. It doesn't cost God anything to make everybody inheriting sons. But our own attitude to our divine assignment will determine who will become the inheriting son. And how do you follow closely? I will round up there. How do you follow closely? Some people will be privileged to be close enough to observe. Just don't be walking, be seeing. One Englishman said, the eyes that look are many, but the eyes that see are few. Don't just be looking. Make sure you are seeing. If you are privileged to be close to them, make sure you are seeing. Don't just be looking. And if you don't have that privilege of being close enough to be able to see, then listen to their messages. Out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth will always speak. You can know what they are doing, what they are thinking from what they are saying. Listen to their messages. Obey instructions given to you. Adhere to instructions. Then take advantage of anything they upload. WhatsApp workers platform, membership platform and co. That I read this book, it may be of use to you. I listened to this message on YouTube, it may be of use to you. When they say it may be of use to you, they are showing you the things that made them, the secrets they gather that brings out that uniqueness you see in them. When you follow suit, when you read it and you obey things that those things they give you access to, command you to, you will end up inheriting the grace of God upon their life. It's just like following a detailed instruction on how to prepare something. If you do it exactly the way you are told to do it, you will get exactly the delicacy they promised you will get. May the Lord help us to be inheriting sons in Jesus' name.